Hey y'all. So I just finished doing cards and conversations. Not gonna lie, I'm tired as hell, so I will not be coming on the camera. And you know what I told myself? I was gonna just go straight over to YouTube after I do cards and conversations to just kill two birds with one stone. So here I am. We're just gonna do a continuation over here for everyone who missed the Cards and Conversations podcast on my Instagram. And if you haven't checked it out, definitely make sure you do so. My handler name is Love Anye. Love Onyea. So basically, tonight's show was lightweight. We were talking about how to use spirituality to enhance your life and how me and Bestie use spirituality to just make our lives so much easier. Like before, I was spiritual, I was religious. And if you were raised in the church, you know what I'm talking about. Born and raised in the church. I have to say I'm non-denominational because we went to a Baptist church and we went to an AME Zion church, and then I've even gone to Catholic churches. So, and my uncle's Jehovah Witness. So I've had a spill and a lot of different um hi realist. And I saw your comment on my Instagram. I just didn't get a chance to reply, but it's totally fine. A lot of people didn't get alerts that we went live. So I'm just gonna have to remind people to turn their notification bells on. It's totally fine. So I've dabbled and dabbed, or I've had a taste of every religion, so to speak. So I have to say, even though I was raised in a church, I consider myself non-denominational because I was in so many different, I was stirring so many different pots. But I say all of that to say that when I finally hopped onto the spirituality wagon, my life took a drastic change. Like I felt like I was at home and I was exactly where I was supposed to be. And I didn't feel like I needed to prove myself. I didn't feel like I needed to pay more money in a collection plate to get my prayers answered. I didn't feel like I needed to put on my Sunday's best. It felt like I was at home when I became spiritual. And I feel like I was always spiritual. It's just, when you go through school and you have been indoctrinated, you lose a essence to yourself, a innocence. And so when I was indoctrinated, I felt like I may have my spirituality lied dormant, and it took me going through some situations for me to find it. And now that I found it, I ain't never letting go of it. So I'll just continue on what we were talking about on the Cards and Conversation podcast over here. So spirituality is not for the weak. I've learned many times that religion teaches you to look up, but spirituality forces you to look within. Like you have to go within, and there's no one to blame. Like you can't blame anyone for anything. What you are going through is because of you, and you're going through it, and it's not happening to you, it's happening for you. So that was a hard pill to swallow because there was nobody to blame but myself. Like I chose the situation because of me, because it may have been a trauma response. I was in that situation because I chose to be in that situation, even if that situation didn't work out. Like I played a part in it. So it really is causing you to look within, to go within. Spirituality is not for the weak. It is a never ending internal school of self evolution. You have to re educate yourself on the truth. It's not his story, not what society has taught you, not what society deems as truth. It's your story and what you find to be true. So you're taking what resonates with you and you're leaving what doesn't. And once you have your spiritual awakening, things will get uncomfortable. You will feel out of your element. And that is because nothing changes if nothing changes. So you have to be uncomfortable in order for change to take place. Two things I've learned that have helped me along the way is awareness and acknowledgement are the first steps towards healing. You have to be aware of yourself, aware of your emotional reactions, aware of who you are to the core, and you have to acknowledge it. And once you acknowledge it, you can heal. Your redemption is in speaking your truth, even if it makes you feel uncomfortable, even if it makes you look crazy. You know, your redemption is speaking the truth. I'm so big on truth. I'm a Sagittarius. That's like the core of my essence, even if it's ugly or I don't like it. Hi, Dee Dee. I'm gonna speak the truth. And that's how I've always been since I was a youngin. Like I've spoke the truth. Um, so yeah, because pain is ancestral. It's generational. It's historical. Okay, but the greatest disservice that you could do to yourself is allow your pain to silence you. That is a disservice to yourself and a disservice to your ancestors. That's why speaking your truth is so important. And it heals your pain. It heals your ancestors' pain because, trauma is passed on from generation. Trauma doesn't stop because it's a new generation. It's just passed on until somebody decides that, you know what, I don't like this shit. I don't like how it's looking. I don't like how it's making me feel. And that's when it stops. It stops when you heal it. Just like a wound. Think about if you were to get shot and you just put a band-aid over it and just say, you know what, maybe it'll go away. No, that shit is still going to bleed until you properly take care of that wound. It's gonna bleed onto the next person or to whoever is around. It's gonna affect them. They're gonna have a trauma response to you getting shot. Like this is how pain is. It keeps getting on other people and it's passed down to generation until you heal it. So um please, please, please stand in your truth. Stand in the truth of your essence and know that once you heal, you're not just healing for yourself, you're healing for your children, you're healing for your parents. You're not making up for what they did, but you're deciding to make better decisions if they didn't. So that when your children look at you, they can say, okay, well, you know what? Because one thing's for sure, two things for certain. Children do as they see, not so much as what they're told. I know every child is different, but every day I'm discovering that I am my mother's child. I'm doing things that she used to do. I'm reacting to things that she would. Like I'm turning into this woman. So really like please understand that like your children are going to like mimic what you do. These are facts. This is not something that I'm just pulling out of my ass. Like they're going to say, well, it's all right because mommy did it. Well, look at daddy. He's doing it. So it can't be that bad. Not even understanding the pain that we went through and that we're still dealing with having to go through that. So heal it. Heal it so it doesn't hurt the next generation. And this is what tarot honestly has done for me. I mean, tarot was really the start of my spiritual awakening. I was always into astrology from a young age, but tarot was the start of my spiritual awakening and it helped to guide me and navigate throughout life. And people think that it's so convoluted. It's not. It's really easy to understand. Okay, you just have to take the circuitous route. You got to take the scenic route. You got to take your time with it because if you try to rush and, pile everything together and not really learn the meaning of what the cards mean, like you're not going to learn it. Like straight up, you're not going to learn it. Like you have to take the time to learn what all the cards mean and um, know like all the different like pictures, what they represent. Like it's a lot, but if you take your time, you'll learn it. And that's what I'm seeing now, because some people can look at tarot and not even understand what the meaning is behind it and just go based off what they feel. But it's a good thing to understand what it means and also combine your intuition with it. So that's what I'm doing now, because I'm always in a rush to learn stuff. I'm always like trying to like soak up as much information. I'm like a sponge for information, but I have to take it one step at a time and not overwhelm myself. So here are some spiritual practices that call my name. Something is happening. King Manye, I haven't seen you on my live in a minute. Actually, I haven't done a live in a minute, but I ain't seen you in my comments in a minute. But I'll say your name, King Manye. Okay. So here are some spiritual practices that I do that have helped me along the way. So every morning I pull cards, like I told you, tarot is like my best friend. I ask spirit, what's my day looking like? Okay, let me do a temperature check. What do I need to look out for? You're welcome, King Manye. What do I need to look out for? What do I have coming towards me that I need to be aware of? Because awareness keeps you 10 steps ahead of the game. So I always pull cards. First and foremost, I pull cards. Um, and I have my ancestor table set up. It's like directly in front of my bed, but not well, it's like to the left of my bed. So I can see it when I'm waking up. So I get up, I pay homage to my ancestors, to the ones that I've already transcended over, and I burn my ancestor money if I feel like I want to get, some the energy of money coming into me. And I was telling people on the live on the Cards and Conversations podcast that I had a little riff with one of my friends over my ancestor table because I don't think she knew how deep I was into this lifestyle. Like I'm deep, like I'm beyond the surface. I don't think she knew how deep I was into it because she rarely ever like interacts with my posts or my reels. But I put up a reel where I was burning ancestor money and I had like a skull on my ancestor table and I had candles and everything. And she was like, sis, like, what is this? No, like, you don't worship your ancestors. And I said, I don't worship my ancestors. Like, when did I ever say I worship my ancestors? You see a post and automatically jump to conclusions. I said, I pay homage to my ancestors. I consult my ancestors when I have an issue. I speak to my ancestors because, in actuality, realistically, they're still here. They're just not in the physical form. They're not tangible. I can't touch them, but they're still here. Like they're very much here as I am talking to you. And she was just like, yeah, but like you shouldn't consult them. You shouldn't talk to them. And I said, well, when you cross over to the next assignment, because I don't say die, I think people just cross over. I don't think nobody actually dies. I think we just transcend to the next assignment. When you want your children to consult you and still honor you and talk about you and speak your name, and she couldn't say nothing. She didn't have not 2 cents, like had nothing to say. Because it's like you're basically saying that I can't consult people that have crossed over. Well, when you cross over, do you just want your kids to just be done with you and just be like, you know what, she's gone, so I can't speak her name, I can't talk about her, I can't talk to her, I can't even pray with her. And she really had nothing to say. But long story short, like she blocked me. Nothing even like that was like the last conversation. And from that, she just said, you know what? I guess, she didn't want no more dealings with me. And it'd be like that sometimes. This situation never escalated past that conversation, but she just, I guess, decided that she didn't want anything else to do with me, which is fine. I mean, guys, everything happens for a reason. Yes, it was sad to lose a friend, but I know that everything happens for a reason, and everybody is not ready to take that next step. on to the next level of their journey. You know, some people are just, I think that everything on earth is meant to evolve, but some people's evolution is at a snail's pace, if that makes sense. Um, yeah, I pray for them too. I pray for them too. I always pray. And people think that prayer means you have to get on your knees and, you know, hold your hands together. You can pray while you're in bed. You can pray while you're in the shower. You can pray just by talking to God. Like, you know, these outdated practices need to really just go. Like, you can talk to God while you're on a live. Like, it's not even that serious. It's serious because God is serious, but you don't have to make it to where you're like dropping everything and you're just like devoting that one thing. God wants you to be like comfortable. God wants you to be comfortable. So I feel like you need to be open with different practices, if that makes sense. I don't know if I even explained that right. um so I have my ancestor table, and I read Psalms every morning. Every morning I read Psalms. Not a morning goes by without me reading Psalms. That is very important to me, to read Psalms. And I always feel like when I read it, it invokes like a certain type of energy within me to where like I feel like, you know, nothing can penetrate me. Nothing evil, sinister, maniacal, nothing can penetrate me. I'm 100% ready for my day. So Psalms always gets me on the right foot. And then at night, I always make sure I call my energy back to me. Always, always, always make sure I call my energy back to me, because I feel like there's people that unconsciously zap your energy, and sometimes they don't even realize it. There's silent energy vampires that zap your energy, and it's hard to know half the time who's taking your energy, because some people don't even realize that they're energy vampires. So that's why I always call my energy back to me every single night. That is very important to me. And that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the four or three things that I do. I make sure that I do every single day and night. On top of taking, you know, vitamins. That's a no-brainer. I gotta have my ashwagandha every single day to get my day started right. But these are just some spiritual practices that I do, that I make sure that I practice, and I can't gatekeep. I gotta share them with y'all, and I hope that you guys um learn something from it. I mean, and if you guys practice your own spiritual routines and rituals, drop it in the comments. I think I'm going to actually save this live. This will be the first live that I'm saving moving forward. I think I'm going to save this live. So, but yeah, so that's pretty much it, guys. So thank you for those that followed me over here from the Cards and Conversations podcast. It was a dope show. Had a lot of people on that were interacting. Really appreciate the interaction that you guys have been giving us on the show. What do I know about shadow therapy? What do you mean elaborate? You mean shadow work? Because I've never heard of shadow therapy. Shadow work is when you're basically working with your shadow self. You're working with the self that people like to deny. You're working with that entity that you feel like is your friend, but it's really your ego. So if that's what you're talking about, let me know. But that's what I know about shadow work. I haven't heard of shadow therapy, but shadow work is when you're working with that entity that's your shadow side. Because as long as the sun shines, you're going to have a shadow. You can't get rid of your ego. You got to balance it. Shadow work. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, the same thing. Um, Shadow work. Yeah, you're just working with that side that is your lower self, because you have a higher self and you have a lower self. And it's about balancing the two out, because as above, so below. So you have to have the balance between the two. Because sometimes you may have to get low with people, but you got to always bring that back up and bring yourself back up and your energy back up to be in high vibrational. So it's about balance. It's about balance. So that's what I know about shadow work. So, well, all right, guys. Well, thank you for joining me on the first live that I'm going to save. Not the first live that I've done, but the first live that I'm going to actually save. So, if you guys have any rituals or ritualistic practices that you guys do, you can drop it in the comments. And I will see you guys on the next live. Peace. Yes, I'm glad you caught this one too. And I'll be here next Tuesday. I'm going to do this every Tuesday. All right. Peace.